Hello everyone. My name is Prasad Hanvika. I'm a student with MIT X-Pro, postgraduate certificate in cybersecurity. Today I'll be covering Equifax data breach and also go over my defensive and offensive strategies report. So let's now understand about Equifax. Equifax is a global data analytics and technology company, and it is one of the three major credit reporting agencies in the United States. They help the diverse industries like automotive, fintech, um, financial services, retail, and government agencies to make critical decisions with greater confidence by providing them with consumer credit scores and their detailed reports. Now let's understand how CRAs or the credit reporting agencies receive or collect the personal identifiable information, or in short, PII. It is what to note, individual consumers do not voluntarily provide data to CRA or the credit reporting agencies. Rather, credit reporting agencies actively gather consumer PII from furnishers. This information includes historical data about credit repayment, tenant payment, employment, insurance claims, arrest, bankruptcies, check writing, and account management, and many more. Based upon these data, CRAs calculate the credit scores and report and their detailed reports as well. They sell these detailed reports and also the detailed consumer data to various businesses for specific purposes. Like for example, when a consumer applies for a loan, CRA can sell the customer's credit score and detailed report to the potential lender. The lender can use this information contained about the customer within the detailed report to decide to loan the money or not. If yes, with what interest rate, or what interest rate that needs to apply, and if a down payment is required or not. So now we have understood how they collect the PII related informations. This makes CRS to be to ensure that these sensitive informations are being secured enough with proper or a robust uh, security measures. Now let's understand how this Equifax data breach happened and and a little bit more summary about it. In September 2017, Equifax announced that its systems had been breached and the sensitive information, personal data information of 148 million Americans had been compromised. The data breach included names, date of birth, home addresses, social security numbers, driver's license numbers, phone numbers, and the credit card numbers of approximately 209,000 consumers were also breached. This breach is unprecedented in terms of scale, scope, and security. Sorry, and severity. The company was initially hacked by consumer complaint web portal, which is nothing but an automated consumer interview system, which was a pretty much old system. And the attacker gained access to the system through a known vulnerability uh, called known vulnerability CVE 2017-5638. This vulnerability was disclosed by or published by uh, the Apache Struct team to National Vulnerability Database. The US CERT had immediately on March 8th had uh, sent a notification to all the three major, basically to all the major credit reporting agencies since they were impacted by this breach. It is pretty much not sure how this communication was done or the notification was being sent across, but it is evident that from the reports that I have researched, that they were being informed. What we do understand is Equifax had their internal communication process. Uh, they did inform the internal stakeholders and the person responsible to do this patch. But for some reasons, because of the failures in the internal processes, this patch wasn't applied or implemented within the 48 hours of the as per the set policies. Now, what this led to is the attacker were able to move on from the web portal to other servers because the systems weren't adequately segmented from one another, and they were able to find usernames and passwords stored in the plain text, and that then allowed them to gain access still further to further systems. Attackers then pulled the data out of the network in an encrypted form and went undetected for months because Equifax failed to renew a encryption certificate for almost 19 months on one of their internal security tools. Equifax also did not publicize the breach until more than a couple of months after they discovered it happened. Also, it was the stock sales by the top executives around this time gave rise to the accusations of the insider trading. What was the this led to there were severe um, implications of this breach. One of the implications were Equifax had to pay at around 575 millions and potentially up to 700 millions dollars as part of the global settlement with FTC, CFPB, and 50 states and territories of United States. This settlement included 425 million to help millions to help people affected by the data breach. It had taken there are some other more implications of this breach wherein it impacted the CEO, the CSO, and the chief information officer as well as the CISO of the organization. So if you can see how this breach happened, eventually the attacker, as I had explained before, the attacker gained the access through the vulnerable server, through the patch, to the vulnerability that was identified but was not patched. They gained access to the database, to one database of the portal, and then they were eventually able to run 9,000 queries on 51 databases. So there are key timelines of this. Key events are like on March 7th, Apache Struct team announces the vulnerability to the National Vulnerability Database. US CERT then on March 8 notified the public about the critical vulnerability. On May 13, 2007, the attacker gained access to ACIS and other systems. Now, if you can see over here, that there were up to 76 days this particular the attacker the attacker attack was undetected within the system, and this led to potential damage, to much more information being compromised. And if you can see, further 40 days or more than a month, the uh, Equifax didn't notify the public as well. So if you can see the timeline between when the US CERT notified and when they actually found the detected the breach within the systems, it was around approximately around 5 months. So you can see from these key timelines, it is very evident that there were key failures in the internal processes. It clearly highlighted the accountability and responsibility of the teams involved, and also the seriousness about the security measures, and also the data governance in terms of how to protect the customer data or the sensitive data. So, what are the following root causes or the contributing factors? Definitely, the Apache Struct vulnerability was not being patched on time is definitely the root cause. But apart from that, there were several other factors which contributed to this particular uh, 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 a breach. One was the aggressive growth strategy of the CEO with no proper control strategy on IT and data as part of the acquisitions. It was fair that there should be growth within the organization, but if you don't have a proper control strategy of IT systems that are getting integrated or the data that is getting your or being collected, eventually this leads to a breach kind of or a security kind of incident. It is also evident that the poor patch management and cyber security practices, unorganized audit and incident response actions by the teams, lack of asset management and data governance, acknowledgement of the incident and the poor incident response management was also one of the contributing factors. Employee training and awareness, it's clearly evident that they were lacking the employee trainings and privacy guidelines were not met. These were some of the root causes and the contributing factors which led to this particular breach, which is unprecedented because of these reasons uh, and the severity of the breach. Now, what could have been done differently by Equifax? It is evident that most of the systems were not adequately segmented. It was easy if Equifax had a robust network segmentation, the impact of the breach could have been limited. Second is the encryptions of sensitive data could have also protected them against the data theft. The third one is the regular vulnerability assessment and penetration testings to identify the and address the weaknesses in the defensive controls was never done or they lacked around it. And also in terms of the regular backups of the critical data and systems could help to ensure business continuity in the event of a breach. And finally, but not the least one, is the employee training and awareness programs. From the lessons or the root causes, is clearly evident that if they had taken care of these things as part of the defensive strategy, the implications or the impact could have been limited. Now, what could be done to prevent breaches in the future? Or um, it is evident from the research, from my research, going through the report published by the government agencies as well. Uh, they didn't had a robust IAM policy strategy at all. So Implementing a robust strategy, IAM strategy, including strong authentication controls, multi-factor authentication, role-based access controls, or limiting sensitive data access to only those who needed it, regular reviews of user access privileges, and regular training of them for the employees on cybersecurity best practices will definitely help in preventing these kind of breaches. The second strategy would be to continuously monitor the network activity to detect potential threats and mitigating those potential threats. If you are continuously monitoring a network and seeing what is being shared across outside the network, it helps to limit or identify the anomalies and also contain those incidents. Having a proper rapid incident response is necessary to contain the impact of the breach. It is essential that regular penetration testing needs to be done to identify vulnerabilities. We know that patching or identifying and patching vulnerabilities takes time, but identifying that and identifying the critical vulnerabilities and fixing them critical vulnerabilities within the 48 hours or within the shorter period of time does help does help the systems and the organizations from being exploited for these kind of attacks. Regular red teams exercises can help the test the effectiveness of these defensive controls. So, what are the key lessons that we have learned from the Equifax data breach? One is the importance of IAM, defensive and offensive strategies, risk management, incident response, and cybersecurity culture. It is essential that the organizations needs to embed their cybersecurity culture within the organizations across all departments, not only with respect to the IT departments, and also foster communication between security team as well as in the IT teams as well. Accountability and responsibility of the companies that collect and store this information. It was clearly an important lesson that learned that since CRAs are storing very sensitive informations and the scale of information stored is very high or very huge, they had an accountability and responsibility to protect this data. This another key lessons that is from this Equifax data breach that we learned today is on the stronger cybersecurity measures and effective oversight and regulations of these companies that collect and store sensitive personal information is very critical. Below us the references that I have used for my capstone project as well as for this particular presentation as well. Thank you.